everyone, it's Lana from Lana Under Pressure, and that's my food blog where I convert my family's recipes, especially my family's Jewish and Cuban recipes, for the Instapot and now the Instant Vortex Plus air fryer. And today I'm going to be showing you how to make one of the quintessential Cuban dishes, a pernil or pork shoulder, in the air fryer on the rotisserie function. So we're going to start with, for this recipe, a pork shoulder. Now the best thing to get is a skin-on boneless pork shoulder, about 2 to 3 pounds. I couldn't find that, and if you can't find that, that can be hard to find a boneless one. So what I do is I get the bone in and I debone it myself. If you're going to do that, make sure that you account for the weight of the bone. It's about 1 pound. So if you want to do a 3-pound roast, make sure you get a 4-pound bone-in pork shoulder. So to prepare our pork for the rotisserie, first we're going to season the inside. So you're going to have it skin side down, and you're going to take just a teaspoon of salt and sprinkle it on the inside. And then, because this is a Cuban pork that we're making, I'm going to use the Goya Adobo seasoning, and you're just going to do a light sprinkling, about a teaspoon or so, on the inside. Now, down below in the description, I'm going to link to my Instapot black bean recipe, and on there I have the recipe to make your own adobo mix from scratch. Today I'm just doing it from the bottle, but you can use actually any seasoning that you'd like. So once you've seasoned your pork, now we're going to prepare it to put in the rotisserie. And the important part is to make sure that you have a pork roast, or whatever roast you put in there, is an equal, even shape, and the weight is distributed evenly, or else it won't rotate well. And so the way we're going to do that is we're going to truss it. And that just means we're going to take kitchen twine and we're going to tie it so that it's a nice cylinder shape, and it'll be much easier to rotate on the spit. So what I've done is I have about 6 to 8 pieces of twine that are about 18 inches long, and then I have one piece of twine that's 36 inches long. And so what we're going to do is you're going to turn the pork skin side down again, but so that the short side is facing you, and you're going to take one of the shorter pieces of twine and you're going to put it under the pork and up around towards the middle and tie it tight, almost like you're tying a package. And this is around the width of it. Make sure you tie it tight. Okay, so now we got that. Now we're going to turn it so it's actually, turn the pork so it's actually parallel, and we're going to use the longer piece of twine to tie it like a package going the other way. So I'm going to shimmy it underneath, and then I'm going to bring it around and tie it on top so that I have almost a cylinder shape. I'm making kind of like a pork roll, it looks like, almost like a log. Okay, so once I've done that, now I'm going to turn it back again so that it's going more perpendicular. And now I'm going to use the rest of the short pieces of twine to tie it. And I'm going to use about 4 to 6 pieces of twine all together. And I'm going to put them about 1 inch apart from each other. And I'm going to try to get as even a log or cylinder shape as I can. It doesn't have to be perfect. Now I found doing the long piece second and then doing these smaller pieces over that holds it much better. Again, you're not going to get it as completely even, but as even as you can is best. And it should look like this. So now we have our pork looks just like that, with the skin on the top, the meat on the bottom, and truss so that it's as even a shape as we can get. Now that I've tied up the roast so it's a pretty even shape, I'm going to season it again one more time with about 1 to 2 teaspoons of salt and adobo. Again, you can use whatever seasoning you'd like. Once you've gotten your pork to a pretty even shape, cylinder shape, now we're going to put it on the spit. And this is the spit. It comes with the Vortex Plus. It comes with the spit for the rotisserie, 2 forks, and 2 screws. And I found that the easiest way to put a roast like this on a rotisserie is to first attach the fork to one of the forks to the spit first. And the way you're going to do that is you're just going to put the fork, you're going to thread it through the spit, and there's a little hole right on the fork that lines up with a divot on the spit, and that's where you're going to attach the screw. And you're just going to screw that in until it's tight. Just like that. Okay? So, now we're going to take the end without the fork and we're going to push that right through the pork. And that should go in really easy, just like that. And you're going to make sure that you push the fork, the pointy ends of the fork, into the pork because you want it to hold it well as it's turning. So, just like that. And it can give you just got to play around with it. And that's it. Now, another tip is putting the fork on the other end. I found if you hold it up on one end, have the fork down, and you hold the pork standing up, it's much easier to thread the second fork. So you're going to line up the fork on the thread and you're going to push it down. And you might have to jiggle it a little bit because sometimes it's not super even. And you're going to make sure that the fork gets pushed into the meat. You're going to line up the hole with the divot for the screw. And that part can be a little tricky. And you're going to tighten the screw as tight as you can get it. And then you're going to lay the pork down and push it into the fork, the second fork. And now you have your rotisserie roast ready to go. Once I have the roast through the spit and the forks are attached, I like to take 2 more pieces of twine and just tie up towards the end because I've found that sometimes putting the roast on the forks gets it a little out of shape. So you can go ahead and just add 2 more pieces to make it a little more even, and to stay on the spit a little better. I found that that really helps. Again, make sure you cut off the ends that are hanging. You don't want those to hang down. Perfect, and now we're ready to put it in the rotisserie. So now we're going to use this little handle fork thing that comes with the Vortex to help you grab the rotisserie. And you're going to insert it so that the 2 ends of the rotisserie spit are on the rails. And you're going to push the roast back as far as it can go. Now, you have to make sure to engage the rotisserie turning knob on the inside. And the way you do that is there's a little red tab on the door frame. You're going to press that in and use your other hand to push the roast all the way back. Then, once you let go of the little red tab, the knob will go ahead and engage the rotisserie spit by itself, and all you have to do is close the door. So now my rotisserie is already turning, but if yours isn't, then you'll just have to press the rotate button right here in blue, and it should start spinning. Now that the Vortex oven has turned off, I like to let the roast sit inside for a few minutes to cool off and so it's easier to handle. Now, a few minutes before it was done, I went ahead and checked the temperature with a meat thermometer just to make sure. And like I thought, this is a 3-pound roast and it took about an hour and it's at 145, so it's perfect. And now that it's been sitting and cooling for just a little bit, we're going to open the door. And I'm going to use the fork, again, the lift, to go ahead and remove it. Again, we have to press the red latch on the frame in to release it. And I'm going to place it skin side up on some foil on a cutting board. Okay, so I have the pork skin side up on some foil that's about 24 inches long, and I'll show you why. But first, before we get to that, we want to go ahead and take the rotisserie spit off, as well as undo and cut all the twine. So I'm going to use my kitchen shears, and I'm just going to cut this twine completely off. Now, once all the twine has been cut and loosened, I'm going to remove the pork roast from the spit. And the first thing I'm going to do is twist off the screw on one end, and we're going to go ahead and pull the forks off. And they should come out pretty easy. Okay. Now, you only need to do that on one end, because a good trick is to stand it up, hold on to the other end, and just push the pork roast down, turn it on its side, and pull the spit out. And it comes right out. Now that we've done that, let's remove all of the twine completely off. So we're going to flip it over and just pull the pieces of twine, and make sure you get all of them off. Now that we've removed the spit and all of the twine off of the roast, it's still not quite done yet. Now, one of the best things about a pork roast is not just the juicy, delicious meat, but also the skin that gets crunchy on the top. And in Spanish, we call that chicharrones. And after it's been rotisserie, it's a little crispy, but not quite. So the trick that I have to get a really crispy skin, which is the best part, is you're going to take the foil that we had down, and you're just going to fold it up so that it covers the meat, but leaves the skin showing. Okay, it doesn't have to be perfect. And then we're going to place that with the foil, skin side up, on one of the baking trays that come with the Vortex. Then we're going to go ahead and press broil, and it defaults to 400, and we're going to bring the time down to 4 minutes and press start. So what we're going to do is we're going to allow the Vortex now to broil and just cook the top, and that will make the skin even more crispy. Okay, now that the Vortex Plus is preheated, it says add food, so we're just going to open up the door. And I'm going to place the pork that's wrapped in foil right on the middle tray, the middle position. And I'm going to close the door, and it'll start up again, and I'm just going to let it go. Now this can take, for the skin to get crispy, 4 to 6 minutes. I set this one to 4 minutes. But, you know, you can let it go to 6 minutes or a little over. Just make sure that you keep an eye on it. You don't want it to burn. What you're looking for is for the skin to start getting even more brown, and it'll start blistering on the top, and that's when you know it's gotten really crispy. Now this is almost done broiling. It's almost just perfect on the top. But while we're waiting, I just wanted to ask you, if you like my videos, please go ahead and click subscribe. I try to put up one at least once a week. Also, check out my blog, Lana Under Pressure, and my Facebook page, Lana Under Pressure, for more Vortex recipes, but also I have a lot of Instapot recipes. Oh, it's done. So just press, it just says cool, but we're not going to even wait. We're just going to click cancel. Who wants to wait? I'm tired of waiting. All right, so now this is going to be really hot. So we're going to remove that. Oh, I can already tell. You can see how it blisters up at the top. Now that we've removed it from the oven, I've let it sit for about 5 minutes, and I just wanted to let you hear how crispy the top is. That's pretty crispy, right? Perfect. My favorite part. That's the part that everybody fights over. So I like to flip it over to carve, because it can be really hard getting through the skin. I'm not the best carver. My husband's really good at that. And I just wanted to show you the inside, how that looks. It's perfectly done. Now, to get through the tough, crunchy skin, what we usually do is just whack it. Watch your fingers. Ooh. Okay. Oh, perfect. And if you see, you have a perfectly juicy inside, crispy skin on the outside. I'm going to try the skin. That's my favorite part. And while nobody's here, and I don't have to share. You can hear the crunch. So here you have perfectly done Cuban roast pernil or pork shoulder on the rotisserie, just a little over an hour. Perfect crispy skin on the outside, juicy in the middle. Awesome. I hope you enjoy, and please check out my blog, subscribe. Bye!